Hi, it's Judith Briles, and we're back to the Author Your Guide to Book Publishing podcast. And back again, we have Viki King. But as always, you're going to get one of my quotes. So from this book, Snappy, Sassy, Saucy Success for Authors, there's over 400 quotes, and I always randomly open. And this is the one we're going to get today. To create your best year ever, make every day your best day ever. Ooh, that would be kind of a good thing to do. All right, so we're going to have that's going with that. And we're going to be really looking at something which is where how I met Viki King. And who is Viki King? Well, she's the author of the classic How to Write a Movie in 21 Days, the Inner Movie Method. And I always think of Viki with the inner movie. It's the inner methods, whatever's going to be going on with her. It's now in its 25th year, 25th year of
48.
international success. Oh, well, this is
Sorry,
something
that's a typo.
you need to change your bio, Viki.
I didn't realize it was in there like
Okay, so we're into the fifth decade of international success. And that and it's not only for what I call the cosmic goose that can come in to get you thinking, because so many authors, especially although a lot of books come out of nonfiction, movies come out of nonfiction books, but so many come out of the fiction line, and people say, "Oh, your book should be a series, or maybe it can turn into one of the series like on Netflix or Prime." And Viki, I would love to have us talk about that process of how those things happen. But it's all about the book is a little book. And I remember my delight. Maybe you can tell me the name of the movie that Tim Robbins was in, and he reaches for a drawer and he pulls out
yeah.
How to Write a Movie in 21 Days. And I went, God, I'm in the movie theater. My God, that's Vicky's book
Yeah.
on there. But it's really about, how can you take your book into a movie if it's appropriate? What's the process that you need to go through to make that happen? So that's what this is about today, because one of the other things that I shared with her when we finished taping our other session that you had the previous month is that with so much AI bombarding us multiple times during the day with stuff that's coming through that makes it looks like, oh my God, I couldn't even write this copy this good about my book, how wonderful it is. It's all BS and comes from the AN line. So we'll kiss on some of the red flags so you don't get in trouble. But if you're really serious about the movie side of it, this is what we're going to cover today. So Viki is our guide, the star of How to Write a Movie in 21 Days, a 5-decade international success. And here we go. So Viki, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Judith. And that means we know each other for a really long time. A long time.
Okay. So here you have, between the two of us, you have a century of wisdom. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. So where do we start with all this? I mean,
There's something I want to tell a happy story for writers.
I love that.
So this is 48 years ago. I went to New York and I was talking to agents, and I wanted to open space for publishing because I had been in Hollywood and I know how hard it is to open space any place in these departments of categories of life. And so I thought, I didn't know how long it was going to take, but I thought I better start. So it's 48 years ago. So I'm calling all the agents, and I get Connie Clausen on the phone. Connie Clausen.
Oh, I know Connie. I know Connie.
Do you know her? Oh my gosh. She was like the top agent in New York. And she was best friends with Larry Ashmead, who was the top senior editor at HarperCollins. So anyway, so she says on the phone, "Oh, come over right now." Just like New York happens. So I hopped a cab, got over there, got in the elevator. She's on the 16th floor. So as I'm going up in the elevator, I'm thinking, I probably need to have a specific project to pitch. Now, what could that be? And I tapped my heart, and it was like, what is the best and highest contribution that I could make with the thoughts that I have, the ideas that I have? What is that from the blood, sweat, and tears of Hollywood that I could utilize? And as I'm going up in the elevator between the ninth and the 11th floor, How to Write a Movie in 21 Days came down into my heart. And then I used the next couple of floors to perfect the pitch, got off the elevator, knocked on the door, made the deal. That was how.
Thank God for tall buildings. Okay. So that's for
And
slower for
now
slower elevators.
there's a button on this story. This morning, just before we got on air to do this, I got a offer from Japan to to do a foreign rights for that film. It's all over the
Perfect.
world, but it never was in Japan yet. 48 years later, it's now going to be in Japan.
I love it.
So
I
if you
love it.
feel like you're if your shelf life, if you think your shelf life is just 3 weeks, that's possible, but it could also be 48 years. That's possible.
And so how did Larry respond to you when you walked in?
Yeah, yeah.
How did he respond to you when you did your pitch?
That
I'm
was
gonna
Connie, and
but
I,
Connie was your agent, but you went to see you were going to
we,
see
no,
her or
I pitched it to Connie. She
hmm,
took 3 steps to the phone. She called Larry and sold it right away. Larry, I've got the, because she knew Larry loved anything Hollywood. And so then
hmm.
the way she knew how to pitch it to him, and just over her desk is a sign, just do the damn thing.
Hmm.
And I think that's very good information for writers always. Just do the damn thing.
Well, I'm actually writing that down. I'll make that a poster. Um, and I have a friend who had a book called Just Write the Damn Book.
Yeah, just write it. But I take damn out of it because to me it's a sacred thing that you're doing. And so, but I think that for her, the spirit of, the that you want to be firm about it in with yourself and get
Hmm.
it done. Get it done.
Well, then I would modify it. Get over it. Just do the thing. Just just I mean, we go through so many gymnastics sometimes to block ourselves in the procrastination dance or the reach for perfection dance or whatever it is. And you just have to get it out there. Sounds like my Friday coaching call that I went through this morning with people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, one of the techniques that I have in How to Write a Movie Book is the random draft. And what the random draft is you just feel it in your heart and know the picture, see the picture of it, the film of it, and then open your
Mhm.
eyes and go and just dump it as fast as you can down in as a random, like a sketch, like a quick sketch that you would do. And that way you got it down. Then you can use particularly smart parts of your brain, which is then you can tweak it, rewrite it, and shift it up with analytics and logic. But you
Mhm.
can't start with analytics and logic because it will stultify you.
Oh, I love that you just said this. So the logic and the analytics will follow.
Yeah, they follow because then you've got something on the page to tweak. But if you try to do it from your head before you've even created, before you've let the creation run and jump and play and be expansive, then you
Mm.
don't have anything to pick out.
That almost goes counter to all these people who go through these extensive outlines in the analytics actually side of it without getting out the heart of
Yeah, you gotta talk to your heart. What the inner movie method is there's a lot of methods around there about what the mind can do. Like we have the 9-minute movie, what goes on pages 1, 3, 10, 30, so and so forth. And what's great about that is then your mind feels like it's satisfied, like, okay, I'm doing this job. And while it's doing that job, the heart can come in and give the essence of what your story is, what you want to say, what's the deep-hearted message of it.
I would love to have you just expand on what you just threw out. The 139, whatever
1,
you're
3, 1, 3, 10, 30, 45, 60, 75, and 120, 120. 90 and 120. So these are incremental places. It's like if you had a really long tablecloth that you were putting up on the clothes with clothespins.
hmm
These are the clothespins so that it doesn't sag down in the middle, it's supported.
hmm So it
So,
holds it up. This is what these are the main pages I'm talking. Most scripts are 120 pages still. Is that correct?
well, or incrementally, you can take it down to 90. Or if it's going to be a series, that's a different, number. But
hmm
the first ones work foundationally. Like the first page. Guess what? That's where you start your movie. Oh, well, where else would you start your movie but the first page? So get onto it right away. And then by the third page, we have like a question that is asked so that that's what's posed for the whole story. Like, can there be a happy wedding? A happy marriage? Is that possible? Just pose a question because a question is active. It's not a statement like, oh, there's no such thing as this is going to be happy. It's like, can it? And so then you
hmm
get to explore that actively. And that's a completely different thing. And then by 10, it's what does the character want and need? Real simple, fundamental things. And when you declare those things to yourself, you know where you're going with the whole thing after
hmm
that.
And then, so those first 10 pages of whatever you're writing and putting together are so essential for your foundation, your infrastructure, your base work. Then the rest then you can do your thing.
Then you can do your thing. You can do your thing. Yeah.
hmm
It's like by the time you get to 30, you got to break out of whatever that was, because you've established the first act, beginning, middle, and end. You've established the first act, 30 pages of where the character is now, because you're going to move them to where they're going. So
hmm
we want to know where they are, otherwise we don't know, we have no reference point.
hmm hmm
So that's what you
You know,
keep telling us by
I
30, and you
yeah, I have I got a couple of my friends right in what they would call the women's fiction area.
yeah.
And you're seeing some of those certainly rolling out on the Netflix on these series.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I was telling her because one of them was a friend. So okay, I'll support your friend. I'll watch ours. By the end of the third season, I just said, I can't stand this. It's run out of gas. It's
Mhm.
run out, and that I guess maybe that's the beauty of a movie
Mhm.
is there's that beginning, middle, and end, whether it's going to happen in 90 minutes or 120 to what two 2 hours and a half, however it's going to end, it's completed. Without because I think sometimes I watch things that they did run out of gas. They don't know what to do. They could have whacked this, edited this, and dropped it in half.
Right. Yeah, and you can tell that the characteristic and the nature of a story and how to tell it. Like some stories
hmm
are a song. They're just
hmm
a song, and and some songs are a mini movie. country songs a lot of times are beginning, middle, and end. Oh, she, took my truck and crashed it, whatever the thing is. And it's a whole story, but it's a song. So you can, and some things are a play because that's like a concept. Usually a play is concerned with a whole concept, whereas a movie, it's one person because it's big on the screen. Here's his head big on the screen. So it's one person. And a play, is tiny in the proscenium arch. So it's a concept for all people, that kind of thing. So you
Hmm.
want to fit the propensity of your story with the nature of where it lands best.
Hmm.
And and people have their ideas about some people are really good at screenwriting and others are good at novels and so there's
Hmm.
all kinds of ways to
Hmm. Hmm.
do these things.
So as you're going along, you mentioned in our last time together the importance of using 3x5 cards. So
Yeah.
kiss on that for me.
3x5 cards, you can't write too much on it, so there you go. And what it is it's
Ah.
like if you think of like a train. A train is pulled, and then here's the engine. That the engine has a whole different story than the caboose and everything in between. And so then 3x5 card, 3x5 card, 3x5 card. And these are beats of the story. Think of beats of the story. And that, like, okay, now he's going to go to Zanzibar. And then, oops, he lost his ticket. And then they throw him off the train. And then this thing happens, and this, and this, and this thing. So when you put it in 3x5 cards, you're thinking linearly and things can flip over. Oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe he goes to New Zealand before he goes to Zanzibar. Oh, that will do it. And then you flip it over, and it's real simple because it's just a card. And that's a very flexible way to be able to manage your story, whether it's a film or a novel or anything.
Is that real common with people who do script writing using those kind of methods? Um, I use, you and I talked about sticky notes. I use sticky notes to move stuff around.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing. It's 3x5 cards with sticky in the back. You know, same thing.
A little smaller,
I
yeah.
remember once I was called to come to. This is really interesting. I went with toy inventors, and we got on a plane and went to New Jersey or someplace, and went in the conference room, and all it was should they continue with this little toy or should they do that toy? And so we did the pros and cons with sticky notes and everything there. And there was the creative team and the financial team, and it was just so amazing. This huge conference, a serious, multi million-dollar thing. And we even had our suitcases, but they were sitting there, and we never went to a hotel. We just got back on the plane and came back here, and made the decision through all the sticky notes and all these people with different ideas, if they should stay with the toy or go do the other toy. It was fascinating how that worked. But there is the creative process in the business world, show and business simultaneously. So it was really
Mhm.
interesting that we got all the input from all the thinking, and the creative ones, the toy inventors. they're a they're a fascinating bunch of folks and how they think.
And the outcome of the toy conference was did which toy did you go with? And did it
They
get made?
they canceled going the next year with the one toy, and they went with a new one. And
Hmm.
that became very successful. I don't even remember what that toy was, but it was a fascinating thing to watch how many methods there were, as
Hmm.
many people as there were in the conference room,
Hmm.
um, in their thinking and how they created. and how they came to their decisions. And these were very high stakes. I mean, this was billions of dollars. And so it wasn't like, oh, do you think should we have our lemonade stand, with more lemon, or maybe should we do lime? It was a little more pricey, spendy than that.
Hmm.
So it was a fascinating way to see how people create. And everybody's got
But
a different way.
yeah, but they did it, and in a way, because you said that they canceled going with the one toy and went with another one. Excuse me, that was more successful.
It was, but it was it was a risk because are you going to be okay? You're joking. It was a risk because the new toy had to at least reach whatever, 700 million by the first 5 months or whatever the thing was,
Oh,
in order to bypass it then.
well, Vicky, I just have to ask this question because, the whole cinema thing kind of was COVID kind of killed a lot. Now it
Oh,
seems to be resurrecting. I mean,
mhm.
Tom Cruise came along with Maverick and got a lot of people back to the city, into the movie theater because there's some movies you just need to see on a big frickin' screen.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel that way.
yeah.
Um, and go on. But what's the future here? Is
Well, the good news is
okay.
that if you have an iPhone, you're in business. Just do your film. The good news is that it's diversifying in such a way that the technology is allowing people to tell their stories on film. And you don't need the studios. And unfortunately, the studios
Well,
aren't. Even though there are, some trying of resurrection, it's going in a different direction completely. And just recently, just this week, there's a horror film that was made for less than $1 million, which is very reasonably priced, less than $1 million, and it's made 300 million right away in just this last 2 weeks or so. I don't know.
whoa.
I think it's called obsession. Obsession. It's an obsession. And so that gives you an indication of the possibility of the freedom of, how you can make your film.
Well, so in doing that, creating the movie or however they bring it together, credit cards borrowed from their family friends, whatever they're doing. Or maybe there's people who are really been doing this saying, hmm, there's another method. There's another way doing it. Because the break even for movies in the traditional matter is huge
Mhm, mhm,
because of what theaters take for that distribution, for what the theaters take. Where you're saying if it's on your phone, this is a different distribution model.
mhm. Yeah, just as um, there's the big publishers, and then now people are independent, and and publishing themselves and such. So
Hmm.
it's the same thing as it's breaking down into a much more um, community-oriented, grassroots sensibility of how you express your ideas. So go for it, absolutely.
Okay, so I think I want to get into some of the mechanics. You talk about, I mean, what's the whole process? I understand the heart, I get the purpose. Don't get stuck on the details and the analytics. Just get your idea going in the flow. All right. So you talk, and I, I'm all for sticky notes in the cards, boy. Total, total devotee of those. You talk about, you've mentioned, I've heard you say it, the 8-minute author. What is that?
Oh, the 8 minute author
Yeah.
is that
What is it?
when you're when it's too overwhelming, when you can't, when it's like, oh my God, I don't even know I can't do this and everything.
Hmm.
So just commit to 8 minutes. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then just randomly write it for 8 minutes.
Okay.
And what happens with that is at the end of 8 minutes, you've got something, or you're engaged now and you can roll. You can roll along. Now, I want to tell you how I got the 8 minute author. I was in Japan and I was on the bullet train. And the bullet train, and I was finishing my How to Write a Movie book. And on the bullet train, I had one of those, the envelopes that has the string that you figure eight, the string
Yes.
type, yeah. So it was that, and so I would undo the figure eight, and I take my
Uh-huh.
paper on the bullet train, and I do bullet train writing, and then then I'd arrive at the place and I put it and close it
Put it
up.
back in.
8 minute author. And that's how I finished the How to Write a Movie book.
It's in little blurbs.
Little Birds. And it doesn't spook you because it's 8 minutes.
Mhm.
And so you'll see that it really it just kind of it's just enough time to give yourself a focus where you can start to pay attention and and go.
Uh, so you did you did mini little bits. Yeah, you did microwave writing. Okay, so we have that kind of going on. And then you talk about something called the random draft. Have we got it all together? Are we
Yeah.
still doing our little mini bits?
No, the random draft is what I was talking about before, which is that you
Mm,
bypass the analytics and just, like
got it.
what does this scene look like? What is the whole thing I want to do? You can tell the character that you are. Like for instance, when you have to put together a table or a crib or something from that you bought,
Yep.
and some people, well, most people don't look at the instructions. Um, but you want to see, like for me, what I would do is I have to see the whole picture. And once I see the whole picture, then I'll put it down that way. That's my random draft, where I get the essence of the thing and the
Mhm.
feeling and the feel of it and the sound of it and everything. And then you put it that way. And other people are not that way. They're, that they have to do this and then they have to do this. And if they can't do these two things, they can't get to the third thing. And so you want to be mindful of your very own methods to be
Mhm.
able to utilize them in a way that works for you. So that's why I have all the methods in How to Write a Movie, because you can look, well, I don't like that one, but oh, these two really work for me, that kind of thing.
Oh, so we've mentioned the book several times, everyone, How to Write a Movie in 21 Days. You can get it at any bookstore. Just go to, the on your whatever your favorite online one is. That would be I go to Amazon when I'm looking for stuff. Right. So, what about some of the obstacles? What,
Oh, there's a
let's hit those.
the whole section in embracing the impossible obstacles. And of course, the obstacles are things like you think you're going to die of it. You can't imagine how many authors call me and they say, oh, I've got this, there's this lump here, this lump. No, that's everybody's got that. That's just right there. That's just like a soft spot. Don't worry about it. It's, normal people have that. And you have too, even though you're not normal, you're a writer. And there's a whole thing in there about what to say to your spouse when you can't come to bed, and all kinds of approaches to your real life.
Well, I think it's really important to understand that family can get in your way of your creativity,
Oh yeah.
and friends can get in the way of your creativity, and walking the dog can get in the way of your creativity. So those are obstacles. So what are some of your tips on dealing with that?
Well, for instance, like walking the dog, bring paper with you, or your phone. Now it's phone with with
Yeah,
the note taking,
exactly.
and talk to your dog. you know, well, what do you think? What do you think in this scene? Should she zig or should she zag? What do you think? And how old is she really? Is she 20? Is she 20? Hey, is she 20? Well, I think she's 20, and do it that way. Now, if you're walking your child to kindergarten, tell the story to your child, because I will tell you what, kids are fantastic at story. And if you'll notice, if you tell them a story and there's a skip, a miss or something, they say, yeah, um, but what did he say to the raccoon? Didn't he say anything to the raccoon? They know exactly what's missing in the story, and they'll press you for it until you make up that part of the story and fill it in. So kids are really great for storytelling.
So we have a whole new set of writing partners or advisors
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that we put into play, which
And
would
the
be
other thing is, if you are writing for 21 days, if you're like very committed that you're going to be doing this thing and focus,
Mhm,
you can do it any which way you want to, laissez-faire or military, whatever works for you.
mhm.
Maybe then your spouse can do a project too, not writing, but maybe weight balancing or something like that. Some other kind of project that they are interested in. And so then you are a help to one another because you're progressing along the way together.
And it's a balance also, and it gives you something to talk about instead of just your book. Or, I mean, that's one of the problems that I see. That's one of the obstacles comes in. It becomes so outweighted because the book concentration of that. I mean, I've because of my situation with my husband right now, I mean, I have certain times that I can do stuff because I have to have just John time that I have to work with him. So
Yeah.
actually dealing with working with my editors, rights coming back to me is a great time to do it because we can't communicate a lot with his advanced Alzheimer's. But it's important for me to be present.
Well, yeah, of
I
course.
have
And
to be
true.
I have to be physically that visual presence
Yeah, yeah.
there. So, and working around that because I have, I'm right now, for me, besides my regular work, I am juggling two books for completion this year. I know it's crazy, but
But you
the
see, what you've done, this is what you can impart to your people that you're working with is what you do is you figure that out. You know that you have to have
yeah,
John time. You know
yeah,
you've got to have book time. You know you've got to have all these incremental things. So
yep,
you put them in place. And then, it's no nonsense when the time comes. This is what you have to do here now, and this is how you have to do this here. What do you have like a Pomodoro? Pomodoro is a wonderful thing. You make your like, okay, I want 20 minutes here, or I want an hour, or whatever, and you turn on your Pomodoro and go. Because then it's a committed. It's like a cup that you're filling now. But if you
mhm,
don't have the cup there, there's no place where you can start filling in.
mhm.
And so then
I'm,
you're good
you
at
know,
that.
I'm one for big mugs.
Oh yeah.
I- It's one of my favorite. I love Tigger. I love the bounciness of Tigger. I think this is equivalent to two cups. So if I go in and I'll sit with John, or just really, I just want to have a chat. I'm going to call my friend Vicky, and we're just going to have a chat. So I know that whatever this takes, that's the time, and we're done.
That's a method. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
See, and so then everyone know thyself. Always come up with the things that you need to have. And
Hmm.
really, not like, oh, I should be able to do. No, what's really going on? How do you really feel? When they're, I love Billie Holiday, good morning, heartache, sit down. When you're really sorrowful,
Ooh, I love what a great line that is.
be in sorrowfulness. And you'll see that then it comes up and out, and you've been respectful of your feelings and let them feel. And then, you're not like, usually tiredness is when you're fighting, resisting what is. So you want to just release all of that. And then then you're available for speaking to your your computer, or wherever you're putting down your story. Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh,
Some, oh,
how does
there.
that, it was off. How how does that tie in with I've heard you when you know you got to keep going, but it's like I don't know if I can. I don't know.
Well,
My
yeah,
little engine has run out of gas.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
then you have to fuel your engine. You
mhm.
can't keep persevering over it. Do not continue to press the override button because it's not working anymore. That's not how we are in the world now as humanity. Now we have to pay attention, and it's perfectly real and
Right.
specifically granted. It's like, no, you can't go on. We've been telling you that, and now you can't do this. So then you release it. Um, and that's where it is for true. When you're true in yourself, then there's harmony. Then you're fine then after you are tearful for 5 minutes, then you're on it again.
Right. So is there times, Vicky, you've ever been involved with anything or you've advised a client you're working with it, this isn't going to work. It's time to let it go, to let it rest, to put it to rest.
Oh, you mean a project that they're working on?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, because the project they're working on is themselves. And and whatever it is that your material is is an end product, but you are the
Hmm.
byproduct of it. You are the one who is enriched by that which you are exploring in depth.
Hmm.
So it's always for you, and it's always, even if it's the gift that you think that you're giving into the wide world, the gift is for you.
I
And
love the gift for you.
yeah,
The gift is always for you. The end
oh,
result is always for you.
the gift is always for you, and so it's up to you to receive it. Yeah.
So I like that. All right. So at what step do we finally say we are done? We are done. Is there a sign that comes in that you've seen? We've seen enough movies or when the protagonist is an author or a writer or someone and they type in the end.
Yeah.
They know. You know, I have never written the end. Any of my.
But to tell you, when you type in the end, then everything starts. I mean, the writing part is half of it.
Mhm,
Then from the end on forward to the launch and out to the body of the book.
mhm,
In the instance of this book, it's 48
mhm,
years.
mhm.
So it hasn't ended. Um, so the here's when it isn't the done. When you think, oh, this is terrible, I can't go on, it's too much, I don't want to do this anymore. That's not the end. That's
Mhm.
the place where take a little, have a little croissant, and then come back and and look at this and allow it to shuffle around and be, I'm getting that image of like a barrel of apples. And if you put a stick in, you can come down a little bit, then you have to kind of wiggle it and take it
Yeah,
a
you
little
do.
more and a little more.
Yeah.
That's the nature of finishing your project.
There's a little bit more to it. Or forget it. I can remember when I was doing my memoir, and all of a sudden, I thought I was done. And then I don't know when it dropped in. It wasn't long. Oh my God, I forgot about Montana. I, I thought I forgot about the 4 years in Montana.
Yeah. Oh.
Or,
Yeah.
or I discovered the secret to catching trout was miniature pink marshmallows. But or where I had two children, or where
Right,
I
right.
became an ace poacher. I mean, it's like
Right, right. Well, mine, what I did in my memoir is my last chapter is my death. So
Hmm.
that's good. So I did it. I put the death in.
All right. Well, that could be the end, or maybe not.
No, it wasn't. It was, it's which I say in there that it's not the end.
It's
Yeah,
not the end. I love the idea of ha telling your story to kids because they will pick up the hiccups. They know where the holes are
they
on
know.
that. I mean, it needs to be the right age kid, I think, and certainly the right type of story that would be a fit or, whatever you're going into. I wouldn't be doing psychological thrillers with little children. But
Well,
that
they're
would be,
very good at that too because they have that in their lives. They're very astute to what's going on in
ah,
the wide world. And so, yeah, they know. They know everything there is to know, they know.
right. So there's a big thing that gets floating around in writing groups and that you need beta readers. So where's a where do we get our test readers? The kids, telling your stories to, certainly, but where are the test readers?
Well,
What you
you
would
mean
be
like the what
looking for there?
you mean the reviewers that are like on Amazon that review your book?
That's a reviewer. Test readers are different.
Oh, test
To
reader.
me,
Oh, well, well, your test reader, yeah.
yeah.
You want to be mindful of who you want to give it to find out what you want to find out. Like for instance, for me, do you know what? My my English teacher from high school was my reader of my memoir. He's 94 now, and he read my memoir as my reader. I mean, where do you get that from? And it was just masterful. It was a wonderful experience. No, he was from high school. So pick out somebody who you want to ask the questions that you want to ask. Like if it's about, let's say you just want somebody who maybe it's about having kids. So then you have somebody who's got 7 kids read it if she's got time. Um, uh, and then you
Totally
get a
different.
perspective about 7 kids. But you wouldn't have that person read if it was like a scientific study on trauma. It's a different person that you would
Totally.
put out. And you want to be very active about your reader. In other words, you ask them a lot of questions because you want to know, did they get what you put out? And then you find that out from them. It's not, you don't ask them what their opinion is. You ask them what they received from it. Like my teacher was so amazing. There's a chapter in my book that there was a violent attack on me. And when he read that, he said to me, "Oh, I was in the Marines and I just felt like I wanted to come and help you there." I mean, what a wonderful response to that
Hmm.
chapter is
Hmm.
is how he said that. I mean, you couldn't think of that. You couldn't think that you would receive a a, a response like that. So
So
that
I'm hearing the reader your test readers should have some familiarity with the genre or the subject of the matter. For example, you're a parent of 7 kids. You're doing a book involving a lot of kids, and that because they will know a lot. But
they'll know
it's
that they know kid. They know kid. They're an authority on what
Mhm.
it is that you're putting out. So you want to know, were you correct?
Mhm.
Was there anything that needed tweaking in there?
Mhm.
Oh, my kids would never do that, or
Fat chance. All right,
that.
so yeah, let me tell you what mine did on that. I've known that when kids want to jump into writing or they say, I want to write children's books. I said, wonderful. People love children's books. And, I like to read children's books. Um, but so what do you know about kids? Are you hanging out with them? Do you, and that always amazes me when they're really not around kids at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I said, "Do you know how they talk now? Do you know their jargon? Do you know it's not cool to say cool? Do you know?"
Well, because we say it and we're 80.
I
So,
know. Well, that's part of our vocabulary,
yes.
but that where you go with that. All right. And then when you had a little line that to remind people when to now start putting it out to people. So we're it sounds like the book is done, or are we still before the book is done that we start spreading it out for other people to read it?
Well, you have to look at what your marketing tastes are. And of
Mhm,
course, you want to market before your book is even out, or
mhm.
you might even start marketing before it's even started.
Uh, um, I'm going to vote for that. I
Yeah.
tell people, when do you start marketing? When you start writing. They actually start going together. It's building your influence, it's who you are, so they know this baby is coming.
You know
So,
what it is? It's energy. It's energy in on the project. And
mhm,
whatever it is that you pull together
mhm,
for yourself, then this thing
mhm.
becomes what it does. Like when I wrote How to Write a Movie, um, my two friends of mine did an intervention on me, a writer's intervention in the car. They,
Oh,
they said, "Oh, you can't. This is too much. You can't do. You can't keep doing this like this." And it was hilarious, of course. But that's the energy that went into this book, and now it's 48 years later, and it's all over. It's all translated in all kinds of languages.
which
It's
is great fun, you
it's
know.
yeah, it's a lot of it's yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I loved it when I got they always say in the contracts, well, you'll get copies of your books. No, you don't. You don't, you know. But it is very cool to get a lot of them to see how your book looks, the titles come out in foreign languages and what they do with imagery and just seeing it all goes along, then all of a sudden there's your name regular in English. I mean, it's amazing to me.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's in a lot of languages, and so then that's yeah, and you don't know what it says in the
oh
translation.
no, 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 you do not. Going back, and I know I've had. I remember when the time my book was South Korea, and I love the packaging they did. It was so beautiful. I mean, it had its own little foil wrapper around it, each book, and this was a book for kids. It was a parenting book for kids on money, and it was just so beautiful on it. And then I actually had a friend who spoke and read Korean, and I said, "This is the original. Are they kind of like?" Just tell me because
Yeah,
you don't
well,
know.
no, you don't know, but it's what it is. It's just magical all over. It materializes all over the place. My book has a life of its own, and it's a beautiful thing, and I can feel it. I can feel all my books have a different personality and a different feeling about each one of them, and you can feel where they are and what's going on with them all over. And it's
I
interesting
think,
about
yeah.
like Pan. I've had it's never been translated in Japanese, and that's kind of astonishing. Um, and now it's going to be. So it
Mhm.
took 48 years. So you see, you might have one of your talents as writer is patience. You could have that.
Oh, I think patience and persistence are the required two P's that we need in our vocabulary. All right, so we're coming down to the close, but I'd love to have you kiss on cosmic marketing.
Oh, well, that's my
Mm.
my plan that I have always used because I'm not somebody who does um, traditional um, marketing. And so when this book, when I dropped it in the mail, um, I said, want what I got, want what I got, because I wasn't going to have it be any other way. Want what I got. That was my start to the cosmic marketing. And it stayed in that place. It was like it had its own life, and I followed what its life was. And it was remarkable. It first came out, it was like a tsunami that came over me. It was just, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. And I went into business, to be in the business of the marketing. And then I went out of business 10 days later because it wasn't right. It was too enormous and, flipping over and everything. And I then went on a podcast. It was called a Money Podcast. And I talked about that I went in a business and then I went out of business. And
Mm-hmm.
the switchboard lit up because this is an entrepreneurial drama that happens to a lot of people. And my choice was no, there's one that, there can't be two of me because it was unhealthy. So I brought back to that it was me, and then I did everything that suited me and felt right for me and was easy for me to do. And then the book took care of its own self all over the world.
I think that would be the dream, Vicky, of every author. That
The dream of every author, yeah. I mean, it's even
is,
in Ukraine, and they have war there. But I would hope that people could feel, because it's funny and it's got it's got a heart to it and a sweetness. So I would hope that that can be of service to
mhm.
people who are at war.
Oh, Ukraine's amazing. I mean, one of my illustrators, by the way, who does our map stuff for our historical fiction, he is in Ukraine. And when we send him, I said, "Here's what we're working on, and can we do a map on this?" And I'll get a message from him. He says, "Sorry, we've been delayed. We've had to move again. There's another bombing." I
Oh
mean, I
my,
would get these kind of, emails, but meanwhile, onward we went.
yeah, yeah.
So, it's amazing. All right, we have a
You
couple of
want what you
minutes.
do,
Yeah.
you want what you do to be of
Hmm.
a contribution in the world. And so then you be that, do that,
Hmm.
and and it'll go where it needs to go.
Well, that's kind of a great way to kind of bring us all to close. So we really go back to what you were talking about when we talked about writing memoirs, and your memoir is you've got to bring your heart to the front, and you have to, and here's the third P: patience, persistence, and purpose. You've got
Oh,
to know. Okay,
absolutely.
so you've got to know what your purpose is. What where you are, and purpose may change. We change as we are. You had written something I had in my notes somewhere along that your writing could be age centric, or what does our age reveal about our mind? Something like that.
Right,
But
right.
how does that come into play? Just one last question.
Well, it's in the book, you can look up your age and know the theme of your film or novel, whatever you're working on, by your age, because we are always in a state of becoming. And so we're
Hmm.
becoming differently at 20 than we are at 40. 40, you stop being getting there and you start being there. It's a completely different sensibility than when you're 20 and you're climbing, and you are aspirational. And then different again, when you're 70. So all the incremental stages of ages are all represented there, and in my memoir, because you can look up your age, okay, 67, and then there it is
Oh,
about what's
good. Well,
going on at
so
67.
to know that, okay, so we've already done the bean thing. Maybe we have a few more years of becoming. Oh, I don't know. We'll go somewhere with that. All
Oh, you're
right.
always becoming
Yes.
more and more yourself, who you always are initially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I found is I have become someone I never thought I knew I could become
Yes.
when I was a young girl, a young woman, you know, a 30-year-old woman, a
Hmm.
40-year-old woman. It's just very interesting. With that, Viki King, thank you so much for being with us again.
Thank you, Judith. Thank you. It was, as ever, you're on it. You're good at it, girl.
Oh, thank you. All right, everyone, Viki King, VikiKing.com. Get her book, How to Write a Movie in 21 Days, for sure. And her memoir, the name,
How to be the hero of your own life.
How to Be a Hero of Your Own Life. All right, everyone, have a good week. We'll see you next.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.